Good evening, guys and girls. Hope everyone's doing well, and welcome to a slightly delayed, slightly late weekly market breakdown. Now, first of all, apologies for not getting one done in the last week or two. Obviously, we've been very, very busy getting the bot all ready to go, which obviously we are now live and kicking, which is absolutely fantastic to see something that myself and Yasser have been working on for a good probably 3 years, and especially seeing as the concepts that are within the bot itself are generated using everything that I do and I teach you guys on a regular basis. Okay, the most important aspect of it is the fact that it removes any emotion. Okay, so even if we have negative periods, we don't have to sit there worrying because we know the long-term performance of the bot itself. And also when we have to make those difficult decisions as traders, such as do we take profit, should we let it run, this bot is designed perfectly to just follow a very simple, well, actually I wouldn't say it's simple, but a very strategic plan when it comes to entering positions, when it comes to closing positions, when it comes to taking partials, and a lot more magic involved inside as well. So those of you that are on board with the bot, fantastic. It's great to have you on board, and we really look forward to showing you what it can do. Those of you that haven't, please feel free to message me if you are interested, as obviously our members do come first. And what I'm going to do today is run through the markets for the week ahead. Now, obviously, it is Tuesday night, and I'm actually quite glad that I've waited until now to do it, because before, okay, if we looked at yesterday, let's just jump onto the weekly time frame first of all. Let's go on the hourly on this side and the weekly on this side. If it wants to load, that's a great start. Let me just refresh that. Okay, there we go. So, if we just look at DXY, okay, let's just hide this stuff at the moment. If we look at DXY, so you can see what I've got highlighted here anyway. Now, last week we had an extremely bearish candle, extremely strong momentum from the sellers in the dollar. Okay, and if we actually just zoom out and come back, this is the strongest selling pressure that we've had, okay, since this bull run actually started. Okay, since this bull run actually started, which is very interesting. Okay, which is very interesting. So it could certainly be a turning point that we're coming to right now. It could certainly be the sort of demise of USD after such bullish pressure for this long period of time. And especially when we look at other markets like GBP and Euro, we've had those strong pushes to the downside, which gathered up a lot of liquidity and thus a lot of buy orders. Okay, so we could be seeing a flip and change in the market right now. Now, it doesn't rule out potential revisits of this high. Okay, we've only touched this area once right now. It even doesn't really rule out the fact that we could still go higher. But the fact that we're starting to see this selling pressure come in from this level of around 114, let's say, 113.5 and 114, actually just indicates that we've certainly hit the kind of wall of sellers for now. Now, as you can see, what I've done is I have highlighted this order block, which is where we're sitting right now. So if we forget, if we look at this market and we think, forget the candle and the data we've got right now, obviously we had a bearish candle. Obviously we can expect continued bearish momentum to break the low, which is pretty much where we started, but we did have a little retest first. Where we are now is an area of liquidity and a weekly order block, okay, which could indicate, okay, absolutely could indicate that we turn around from here. Okay, it could indicate that this weekly candle stays, continues as a doji, and then actually next week we have a push up. Okay, and when we push up, we've got areas like this. Okay, this strong order flow that came from this region here, 111 to 113. That could certainly be revisited before actually having a big downside push on USD. Obviously, we could break this level this week, and this is why I always say to you guys, we don't have a crystal ball. We can just analyze the markets and trade what we see. And I always say to you guys as well, make sure to trade what you see and not what you think, okay? Now, a lot of us would see this candle and just assume that that's it, selling pressure's in, big shorts coming on USD, and yes, you're probably right, but we still have to keep an eye on what's going on to ensure that we're trading in the right direction and we're just following that momentum. So where we've actually hit today is quite interesting, because we've actually hit this area and we've rejected it quite strongly. So if I just swipe along here to the current hourly candle, okay, what we did is we went absolutely crashing through the most recent low, which was last week's low, and then we've had a big wick candle. Okay, so this candle alone on DXY is 90 odd pips in the space of an hour. Okay, so we've moved about 120 pips in the space of an hour or two today, with a big wick rejection, and then we've now come back to that previous low. Now this could be, okay, it could absolutely be a grab for liquidity, okay, and that's what we need to be aware of, and familiar with the concept that on this weekly time frame we are still bullish, okay, until we kind of break. We've got a lot of levels to break. We've got the order block that we're sitting in right now. We've got one sneaky one below that was tested previously, but it does not mean that it can't be tested again. So just put this one along here, so we see this sort of level here as well. And then also, if we did want to highlight this one here, this could absolutely, if I could draw these properly, this could absolutely be what we could kind of expect. Oh, I've done it again. This could be what we could expect for that downside momentum. We could see the market come into all of these levels here before really proving to us that we've got downside momentum coming. And if we do get that downside momentum, we've got these targets down here around these 90s, this level of support, okay? So that's what I'm going to be looking at and focusing on, but I focus things one step at a time, okay? And that is where we are right now. We could potentially gear up for some bullish movement from here, okay? And this could have been almost a fake manipulative push to get the price back into 106 to enable some value within the USD again. If we looked at the recent leg on the weekly, we can see that we're in an area of in an area of discount right now. And if we use that entire leg, we are in an area of discount right now. So therefore, banks, institutions may be seeing this as an area of discount, and therefore could be looking at purchasing. So the price action on the hourly here on DXY could be really interesting. We've already had the rejection, we've already had a bullish closure with more pressure to the upside, with a failure to break a low and a high being broken. We've had that confirmation back into this previous low, and we're now having a little bit of a retest as well. So I do kind of, I'm not going to say I favor it, but I would love to see if this is the sort of move that we could get. Okay, if this is a sort of move that we can get. Now again, step by step on the hourly time frame, we've got this level of order flow right here, which is going to be very important. So that's going to be the first step, okay? Even if we break this level here, okay, yes, there's a little break of structure, but we know the order flow is just above it, and that's what we need to be really aware of and careful of, okay? But that, I think, could be some very interesting plays on USD markets. So let's have a look at some other markets. We've got Aussie dollar. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of highlight the fact that obviously all of these USD markets, they are going to be showing bullish momentum. The problem is, and where we have to be really careful, is we are now at the areas of the order blocks, the potential resistance, okay, and that's where we need to be careful, because this is where the market can turn around, and we don't want to get caught at the end of a trend, okay? So what we're doing is we can still continue to trade the trend if we want to, but we just have to be aware that it becomes risky right now because of where we're sitting, and this is going to require some serious analysis and kind of watching of the likes of DXY mainly, okay? We've still got bullish order flow here on the hourly, we're still pushing and making new highs, etc. But I definitely would be very wary of seeing potential changes in these markets, okay? Now, most of these USD pairs are probably going to be quite similar. Let me just remove all of this. So again, if we look at the Euro USD weekly on the left hand side here. As you can see, what have we done? We've come up precisely into that order block, okay, and pretty much just shy of that 1.05 level, okay, which is quite key and very, very important, okay. So again, very interesting, and we're going to see the same kind of thing here where we've had the high broken, and now if we kind of come back in there after that rejection, this is what I would class as our kind of liquidity grab, okay. It doesn't mean that we can't revisit this big hourly sort of order block potential here, and that could be good opportunities for shorts. It's up to you. I'm not going to say don't trade against the trend because of where we are, but at the same time, just know that the risk here is more. The reward is more, of course, the reward is more, but the risk here is more because we don't necessarily know that the downtrend in USD is over, okay? If we go into GBP USD, again, we have fallen just shy of this order block. Okay, we've fallen just shy of this order block right here. And therefore, I think we might be able to see rejections. We can already see that rejection coming in. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So New Zealand dollar has been very, very strong in the last few weeks. So we're a little bit shy there. We're a little bit shy there on the NZD markets. NZD USD, and we've still got that bullish order flow, so not really any reason to change our minds just yet. If we look at USD CAD on the weekly time frame, again, not really any reason to change our mind just yet. We do have a little bit of a break of structure coming on here. Could be a grab for liquidity, but again, it's just going to have to be something we're going to have to watch and see. But then we've also got that potential grab for liquidity down here as well. So again, it's going to just be a case of kind of just watching that price action and see if we start getting that change of momentum. If we look on gold, again, exactly the same with gold. For some reason, I've got so many alerts on gold right now. Let's just remove a couple of these. Okay. So we've got a lot of alerts on gold. But again, where are we? Okay, where are we? That's the most important thing. We have come straight into this order block, okay? And we're rejecting already. So again, something to be very, very careful of and wary of. We've had this big spike, we had a second retest, and now potentially we could be looking at coming down into maybe these two order blocks that we've got down here. So I understand that I always tell you guys to trade with the trend, and that is exactly what I do. But of course, this is an area where the markets are at an area where we could see big flips and big reversals, okay, in these markets. Now, the reason I've got alerts on here is because the bot is currently trading gold. So we'll see how that turns out. DXY I've done. Let's have a look at Aussie dollar pairs. So Aussie is still extremely strong. No reason to change. If we look at last week's candle, we can only expect continued bullish movement into at least this kind of region here, which is a huge region I'm aware of, but it is a key sort of level and region that we're potentially focusing on at the minute. CAD has been very weak last couple of days. Bullish momentum on bullish order flow on Aussie dollar CAD as well, so expected further bullish movements. When we look at Aussie dollar CHF, again, we're seeing that same strong push on Aussie dollar. Now, on the weekly time frame, we would have expected potential bearish movements. Okay, we would have expected potential bearish movements, and if we just highlight this area here, this is our kind of last port of call. Maybe even this level here before that is going to be invalidated. Okay, and that will be one potential trade that will be incorrect from the weekly bias this week. Okay, tough market Aussie dollar CHF right now. If we go on to Euro CAD. Okay, where can we see we are on Euro CAD? Again, we're kind of in this region here where we've had these 2 weeks of tests and liquidity grabs from the lows here, and if we drag that along, we can see we're also at this region. Now remember, if dollar was to strengthen, we could potentially see the euro weaken, so we could see in the next couple of weeks things really changing around again. Euro Aussie dollar, nothing. That's a candle that I'm not interested in at all, to be completely honest, so I'd leave that alone. Euro NZD, just about reached that weekly low now, which is great. Now this was, yeah, we've had bearish momentum, retest, and now potentially more bearish momentum to continue pushing that lower. So a lot of these moves have kind of already occurred or are already happening this week. If we go to this one here as well, if we look on this kind of hourly time frame, even though it's a little bit sporadic, that last area before this low here opened up this area of order flow and order blocks, and as we can see, we're using that as a very, very strong level at 1.7750, okay, 1.7750 to 1.78. So again, if we look at things like next probable move, the next probable move has kind of already been done this week, but maybe we can see ourselves come into this kind of weekly area, this weekly zone around here, which is around 174, which is quite a lot of pips up for grabs on there. If we look at GBP CAD, we have jumped in and grabbed liquidity after that bullish week last week. We have fallen just shy of this order block before we started rejecting, and at the minute there's no change in that kind of bigger picture per se. If we go on to GBP NZD, hopefully this is going to load. Yeah, GBP NZD. So you can see actually this is something I highlighted earlier because the bot is currently trading GBP NZD this week, and what we can see there is that nice rejection of that beautiful order block and a huge movement from there. That is actually nearly 200 pips, which is insane. Yeah, that's insane. Last week was one of those retest candles. These are the ones you need to be a little bit careful with sometimes, these retest candles, because sometimes we do flip and come above that weekly high, which kind of tricks us or makes us believe that maybe the market is long. But if we highlight these order blocks and we understand how the order flow is looking, then it gives us that insight that we can continue going bearish, okay? If we look at NZD CAD, NZD CAD is moving quite strongly as expected with that weekly kind of level, that weekly time frame. And the area that I'm going to highlight is where we pretty much are right now, which is here, right? And we know this is order flow because we've got rejection from here, a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure, and therefore we could end up seeing the same again, especially if we do see that USD change, okay? NZD CHF so far is kind of defying all these odds right now. The order flow here for me is probably this kind of cheeky level here. So it kind of really depends whether or not we will be able to sustain this level, whether this is a little grab and a rejection, or whether we're going to keep moving and keep flying up. So we'll wait and see what happens there, but based on the weekly candle we would have expected it to move bearish, okay? But what's happening so far is we've got quite a retracement, so we have to see how the NZD and Swiss franc looks. And then finally we've got CAD CHF, last week extremely bearish, but we wouldn't be looking at trading this because we are just at a serious level of support, okay? An area of support that's held out for about a year and a half, okay? Now we're probably going to break it by the looks of it, but again, just be patient, wait for some more confirmation. You don't want to be selling at the low of such a candle like this. This is why we wait for discounts, okay? This is why we wait for order blocks, because it tells us that the discounted area is anywhere above these levels here. This is 50%, and where do we get that value? At that 50% level, okay? So guys, that will complete the midweek, nearly midweek market breakdown. I hope you find it useful. As I say, I think the key thing to take away here is the location of where we are sitting on a lot of these markets, okay? Be very, very wary of sticking with that current trend that's been occurring for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks on dollar, as this could be the end of that trend. I'm not saying it is, we have to wait and see, but something like this could be very, very interesting, okay? And a good way to judge that would be to actually look at gold, and when we look at gold we can see that we've got the rejection already coming through from this region right here. Okay, so guys, have a great week. Those of you that are still here listening right now to this video, just want to throw out a congratulations to one of our clients, Francesca. She has successfully completed and passed both phases of an FTMO £140,000 account. So absolute congratulations to her. She's been working extremely hard behind the scenes. You probably don't see her right in the group very much, but I believe she is still in the group. So if you do follow this as far as you are right now, please just join me in giving her congratulations in the group, because she's worked extremely hard. She's extremely proud of herself, and she absolutely should be, because she has smashed it. So yeah, guys, have a great week. Any questions you've got, you know where I am, and I'll speak to you soon.